っぱり花とか植物っていうのはもうすでにこう完成された一つのもう誰しもが美しいと認めるもので、いわゆる美の象徴だったりとか生命の象徴であるってことはもうみんなが理解していることで、僕の手を加えることによってそれをさらにもうハッとさせるこう存在だったりとか、命のそのものにこう変えていく。私の名前は、東誠です。花を使った表現の活動もやってます。もう本当に20年も前の話になるんだけど、僕本当たまたまもともとロックバンドやってて、で、音楽だけじゃ食べれないということで、たまたまそのアルバイト先で見つけて雇ってくれたのがお花屋さんだったっていう、それが花になったきっかけです。今回は、宇宙に花を飛ばすっていうプロジェクトです。海、絶対にこう花が存在し得ない場所に花を生けていくと。上空3万、ですね、宇宙空間の中にこう花を生けたらどうだろうなと思う元々の発想から始まって、今回それを実現させようということで、これからもいろいろな場所でそれは続いていくプロジェクトではありますね。明日はダウンタウン、LA のダウンタウンの、お花の市場でまず花を買って、大体どうですかね、1000本から1500本ぐらいの分量を買って、そうですね、今の時期の、お花をメインに選ぶんですけど、しっかりと自分が花と会話してフィーリング合わせて、どれを使おうかなと最終的に決めようかなと思ってます。ここから、ラブロック砂漠に向かいます。
Yes, Brian and Jan, you guys are on the ramp deploy team, and you actually go ahead and deploy the forward ramp. So if there is a problem, let's not get stressed about it. Let's go.
今回は、約上空3万メートルまで、花を上げたいなと思ってます。3万からそうですね、3万もう少し高くいけたらいいかなというふうには思ってます。これは約3万上空3万メートルに、打ち上げるということなんで、まずやっぱり、バルーンっていって、その花を実際具体的に上げるものを作ることですね。でその次のプロセスとしてはそれを記録に収めていく、その映像で、しっかり収めていく、なんて言うんでしょうね、こうテクニカルな部分を詰めていく。で最後、僕が実際砂漠で、ロスの花市場で買った花を組み合わせて一つの花の作品を作っていくっていうことですかね。で実際打ち上げて。ただ本当にお花なんですごくデリケートなものだから、本当に最後まで綺麗にこう宇宙空間に行って綺麗に散ってくれたかどうかっていうのはちょっとわからないですよね。だからすっごい実験的な作品なんで、実際やってみて作品を確認するまでわからないっていうか。でもそれはなんかこう一つこう花を使った芸術のなんていうんだろうな、こうすごい面白さでもあるかなと思ってますね。やっぱりこう絶対にそこでは存在し得ない花をこう生けることで、花の新しい美をこう紡ぐというか、あぶり出していく、導いていくっていうのが目的ですね。
There's a lot to love about living in a big, bright city. People, culture, late night food, but there's something missing. It's there, but you can't see it. The night sky. This is the story about a small town in Colorado.
Actually, 2 small towns in Colorado.
That are devoted to space.
Westcliff has a population of 564 residents, and Silvercliff has a population of 575. This used to be a mining community, and then it evolved into a railroad community, and then into a ranching community. We're always looking to do something that will bring people into our community, and lately that seems to be we need to invest in our sky.
So they made light pollution their enemy. They darkened their towns so that the night sky could become their star attraction.
Have you ever seen the Milky Way that goes from horizon to horizon? 88% of the world's population has never seen the Milky Way. It's the most magnificent thing in the world. That's what we see here.
But for the towns to go dark, they needed to cover all of their lights. Not just street lamps, but the lights outside every house and ranch near town.
That wasn't easy. This is a frontier town, and I can tell you, frontier people don't like being told what to do. We had to win their hearts and minds.
It took 10 years. They passed ordinances, raised money to cover the streetlights, and even build an observatory. And the darker the town became, the more people saw the light. This year, the valley's dark sky was designated as one of the darkest in the world, drawing visitors from all over.
Okay. Might need a 6-pack though.
Not as big as this, that's for sure.
Well, I was really hoping we'd be able to see Saturn by now. Yeah, me too.
That a community would decide to dim its lights and help everyone to appreciate the beauty of the night sky is an amazing thing.
You come to a place like this and the stars just burst, and it's remarkable.
Not a lot of people are lucky enough to see the dark sky as our ancestors saw it, and I feel that we're a very special place to be able to look at the stars as people did thousands of years ago.
It's a humbling thing. Suddenly you realize you can almost touch it, and you're now a part of the bigger universe. And so it's just a wonderful experience to see the dark skies, and that's what we're trying to preserve.
Listen. This sound is the first evidence of the Big Bang. And this is a story of 2 radio astronomers who discovered proof of the beginning of everything. This is the horn reflector antenna at Bell Laboratories. Robert, can you tell us what this thing does?
It receives radio waves coming from the direction it's pointed to and funnels them into a receiver.
That's Robert Wilson, radio astronomer. In the early 60s, he and his colleague Arno Penzias were tasked with measuring the brightness of the sky using the horn reflector antenna. But no matter where they pointed it, the antenna read a much larger signal than the pair expected.
Our immediate reaction was that there must be something wrong with our system.
They thought it might be interference from the horn itself, or New York City, or even some pigeons living in the horn.
We thought about a collection of ordinary sources that are in the very distance. That just didn't seem to be possible.
So they reached out to a group of researchers at Princeton University led by astrophysicist Robert Dickey, who had been scouring the sky unsuccessfully for evidence of the Big Bang. Arno called and...
Dickey picked up the phone, and they started hearing things like atmospheric radiation, sky brightness, all the things that they were working on. Dickey put the phone down and said, "Boys, we've been scooped."
Robert and Arno had measured what Dickey and his team were searching for, the elusive cosmic microwave background radiation.
He thought about a Big Bang source of the universe, realized that it would be very hot and therefore full of radiation. And as the universe expanded, that radiation would simply cool. And whereas it was extremely hot to start with. By now it would simply be microwaves. Now it's so cold that it would just be radio waves.
And this, not pigeons or the noisy city, was exactly what had been causing headaches for Robert Wilson and Arno Penzias. The two groups of researchers from Bell Labs and Princeton each wrote complementary research papers with their findings.
They wrote one about the theory, we wrote one about our measurement, and we published them. I think unlike many changes that occur in science, there really was a paradigm shift with very little pushback.
It was huge. There was now evidence of a new theory for the beginning of the entire universe. Over a decade later, Robert Wilson and Arno Penzias were awarded the 1978 Nobel Prize in Physics. How'd that feel, Robert?
Felt pretty strange to win a Nobel Prize. I didn't feel comfortable being on the same list with Einstein.
But despite Robert's humility, there's no doubt of the significance of the discovery.
It gives us our earliest picture of the universe from which we can extrapolate back to very early times. It's one of the centerpieces of cosmology.
My name's Tim Doucette. I'm an amateur astronomer. And I'm also legally blind. Kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? It turns out I can actually see the night sky better than most people. Probably better than you. When I was younger, it's easy to become discouraged. You know, realizing that you're never going to drive a car, that you'll never be an astronaut. At least that's what you're told. I was born with congenital cataracts. They removed the lenses of my eyes and widened my pupils. That left me with only about 10% of my eyesight. For the average person, their pupil automatically adjusts for the amount of light coming in. It opens and closes. But for me, my pupil is open, so it's always letting in a lot of light. During the day, I see everything extremely bright. Everything is overexposed. Colors are more vivid. But at nighttime, the tables are turned, and it's like a curtain has been lifted. When I was a teenager, I went on some additional surgery to improve my eyesight. I got home from the hospital and I looked up at the sky, and at first I thought I was actually having a detached retina. I was seeing millions of spots of light and realized that that was the Milky Way I was looking at. And it was phenomenal. At first I didn't really realize what it had given me. It took 15 years later to realize that what I had was special. With my personal savings, I built an observatory on a hill near my house and called it Deep Sky Eye. When I'm looking through a telescope, I'm not wearing my glasses, and my eye is like a camera without a lens. So it's focusing the light very clearly onto my retina. I see a little bit extra light that most people wouldn't see. You know, you look at the Orion Nebula and, it looks like a fuzzy patch, but, I kind of get a little bit of purplish tinge to it. The sky here is like a tapestry of interstellar dust. It looks like a velvet background, with diamonds all through it. It's absolutely amazing. My wife is also legally blind. She doesn't see very well at night, but most of the time when we're, walking or at the observatory, I'll explain to my wife what I'm seeing. She appreciates the night sky, even though she doesn't see it very well. When I look through the telescope or look up at the night sky, it makes you realize really that all your problems with the fact that you're legally blind or whatever, it really just doesn't matter. You realize that you're a part of this universe.